Hello, church. It's so good to be with you. We are just having a great day. It's so hard for me to believe it's already May and the year just seems to be flying by. And we're in a month of graduations from little people to middle-aged people to our seniors in high school. It's just a lot going on. We're gearing up for youth camp. A typical Georgianna, it's a pace that just keeps going, and we're grateful for the many ways that you serve. So we find ourselves in 1 Peter chapter 2. And I want to go back to a piece that Ryan shared last week from Guatemala in his remote Take 5, just so that we'll understand the context. It says in 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 5, that you also, like living stones, meaning Christ, are being built into a spiritual house to be a holy priesthood. So part of what we have is we have this imagery of a house being built, and that there are many stones representing you and I as the stones that build the house. So the house of God equals people. That's really what we need to remember about those passages from last week. And now we pick it up in verse 7. Now to you who believe. So again, this document is written to who? Believers, not non-believers. It's an internal document for the church. This stone is precious, meaning Christ. But to those who do not believe, the stone the builders rejected has become the cornerstone, and a stone that causes people to stumble, and a rock that makes them fall. They stumble because they disobey the message, which is also what they were destined for, right? So what does this mean? So we have a cornerstone in the building that is our life, in the building which is our church, and that cornerstone is Jesus Christ. And I think we all understand that. We all recognize that nothing happens without him. And if you were to build your spiritual life without the cornerstone, the big foundation stone that sets all the correct angles and everything so that the house is built perfectly. You build that house without that cornerstone and you're in trouble. Like, you're in serious trouble. Your house will not succeed. It will fall and fail. And here's how we know this. If you go back to Matthew chapter 7 and you pick it up in verse 24, it says, therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine, remember what the stumbling block was. It was what? Was disobedience was the stumbling blocks. Anyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against the house. Yet it did not fall, because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on sand. The rains came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against the house, and it fell with a great crash. So go back to 1 Peter and just pick up on the fact that it says they stumble because they disobey the message. The word of God that was spoken, the commands given by Christ, they disobey the message, which is also what they were destined for. So when you reject the cornerstone, the consequences and ripple effect of what happens is that it causes you to stumble and fall. So church, I've been involved in all my years of ministry with people who've been searching for Christ or who've not been searching for him and find him, people who are lost, people who generally are struggling with life issues. And in all of those cases, I have never known a single person who has anchored their life in the cornerstone of Jesus Christ, put their feet on the firm foundation of the word of God, who ever stumbled. Let that sink in for a second. I've never known anyone who took a stand on the firm foundation of the word of God and ever stumbled. Now, generally, when I meet with people who are struggling with things, we can trace it back to their stumbling is that they have anchored their life in something that does not allow firm footing. So what Peter's trying to share with us here is that, listen, we've been given a precious cornerstone to build our life around. And then also as a metaphor of the church, for the church to build a life around. It is why we want you, as pastors in the church, want you to get it and understand the significance of what it means to have Jesus in your life, that precious cornerstone. So church, the final takeaway for us this morning, as you think about this passage all week, is have you laid that cornerstone in Jesus Christ? Or have you got some sort of false cornerstone that gives the impression of faithfulness, but is not the actual cornerstone of Jesus Christ? So think about that. This is what he wants you to build your life around, is that precious cornerstone. So that why? you will not stumble. And I promise you, if you lay your foundation and firm on the Word of God, you will not stumble. I love you, church. It's a busy month. I hope you're a part of all the good things happening around here. I look forward to seeing you again next week. Love you.